You'll pay for them once you catch the gambler and get your money back. Good night. Dina. Someone has COVID. Howdy, folks. It's the Command Line Volpine here, and welcome to Let's Play Call of Saregnar. This is the free demo that's available on Steam. Call of Saregnar is a game that's like a throwback to like early 90s RPGs, and almost also kind of like Oregon Trail 3. Oregon Trail 3 is like the one where they started using like real voice actors, like pictures and stuff in the game. You'll see what I'm talking about once we get in. But yeah, it's definitely a very unique art style to be seeing in 2022.
It was a late night in the small town of Romar. Huon, an auspicious student of magic, and Sam, his roguish friend, decided to liven up the dullness of the road by spending the night drinking and gambling at the Yew Tree Inn.
The friend's name is always
observing
Sam.
the two playing and winning a number of games against the locals, a gambler approached their table and challenged them to a game of takla. It was then that fortune seemed to abandon them, as the two friends lost most of their money and many valuables playing against the man. Sam was no stranger at cards, and while he had no proof, deep inside he knew his opponent must have been cheating. At that point, the young rogue confronted the gambler, and in the struggle that ensued, an accusing card fell from the man's shirt. Realizing that he couldn't bluff his way out of the situation, the gambler felled Sam to the ground, grabbed the pouch of winnings, and dashed towards the exit. In the chaos, Huon tried to stop the retreating gambler, but only managed to trip on his friend and abruptly join him on the floor. Meanwhile, startled by the shouts in the common room, Dina, the owner of the tavern, dashed in and found the two youngsters lying atop one another, being the object of merriment of a drunken, cackling audience.
Here, now he knows what I'm talking about. What in Ulmaris's name happened here, and what is that bloody gambler? He's yet to pay for lodging and food. Gone. We caught him cheating at cards, and he ran away. We tried. Gone. And why didn't you two go after him? Why didn't anyone go after him? So it's like all like live action pictures of people that have been recorded or GIFs. But it's interesting. Mixed in a 3D environment. The room fell silent as Dina's icy gaze traveled face to face across the room. Propping himself upright, Sam assessed the condition of his bleeding nose by carefully bending it first one way and then the other. Satisfied that it wasn't broken, he looked up at Dina, who stared at him with a mix of disbelief and rage. I was gone for 1 minute, Sam. I know, but he had a third blue lady card hidden within his shirt. I knew he couldn't have been that good of a player. Not even the gamblers of Burmius could have. Enough, Sam. He's gone because of you, and I don't want to hear any excuses. You'll be paying for both him and yourself. The man took the man took the coin, Sam. Dina, he what? I'm sorry, what can I say? He must have taken our money before he bashed my nose in. I see. Then either you find your money and pay up, or you'll be playing here to cover the expenses every night for a week, starting tomorrow. A week? Come on, be reasonable, Dina. I can't be stuck in this hole of a town for a whole week, and where are we going to sleep? Do we at least get a room to stay in? No, you don't, and since you can't afford staying, I suggest you start looking for the man now. I'm closing for the night. Dina, sweetie, you can't be serious. 'Tis the middle of the night. We'll never find him out here in the dark. You're right. Here, take these torches. You'll pay for them once you catch the gambler and get your money back. Good night. Dina. Someone has COVID? Oh. Actually looks a little more different than I expected. Outside, at least. But yeah, here we are in the game. You can press I to open up our inventory, and as we sort through pressing I, we can look at our different characters. It's actually also kind of like a strategy game. It's like not just a pure RPG. Once you have like a bunch of characters, I think it's kind of like more like an XCOM kind of thing almost. We'll see when we get there. But you can see the art style is very reminiscent of those early 90s RPGs. Here's our torches. A simple affair. The torch was commonly used as light source. Fine by me. What we got here? Traveler's Lashings. Unwrapping the small racks of paper parcel, Huon found an assortment of dried fruits, salted pork, and fish. And hardtack, a long-lasting bread made of flour, very little water, and salt. Oh, one of you actually has a freaking falchion. The falchion was a heavy affair, thought Sam. He took 2 test swings, and indeed it was very nose-heavy. This wasn't an accurate weapon, but it's still capable of doing substantial damage, for sure. Falchions are no joke. Simple staff. Huon held the staff made of ash. Even though it was neither straight nor smooth, it felt solid in the wielder's hands, and he was sure that he could crack some heads in if the need arised. So Sam, they're both a little bit low on endurance. I'm guessing that's because they're drunk still. Then I think we can unlock our cursor with left alt here and press our buttons here. I think we can also open the map just with M. I just wanted to see what that did there. Oh, here's our quest log. We got cheated at cards. Worst of all, the gambling demonetized, took all of our winnings and disappeared into the night. Now Dina, the owner of the Yellow Tree Inn, wants us to recover the money and pay his expenses on top of ours. 1 salvian total. What have I gotten myself into? And this is supposed to be an uneventful trip. Trip set to the book Arthur acquired, not a manhunt. We have not met Arthur yet. Probably don't want to camp yet on accident. Oh, so we kind of got like an Arx Fatalis kind of casting system, maybe? Maybe not. Caster directs the godly powers towards another, healing himself or another. Cost some endurance. Don't need to heal yet, so I'm not going to press that. All right. I don't suppose we got told which way to check. Oh, here we go. I should have known I was being cheated, and I never lost that much money in one night, or ever. Neither did I, Sam. We should have listened to Arthur while we had the chance. 'Twas your royal cousin's fault for not buying us drinks in the first place, you know. You're drunk. As I recall, he wanted us to go to his cellar, you know, the one with the wine and dried meats. Well, now all we have there are these bland road rations, which I have no desire to ever eat again. Yes, I get the point. Look, there's nothing we can do now but track down that man and recover my money. Our money? Yes. Then we visit your cousin in that fancy manor home of his, check out his book on magic tricks, and then we finally leave this accursed place. Deal? Dang it, Sam, that book was what brought me traveling all the way up here in the first place. If it is truly an ancient book on magic like Arthur claims, it is like finding a danged treasure. I'd lose 10 times the money I lost tonight just for a chance to peek at his pages. Calm down, your magician ship. You'll get a chance. But first things first, where do we start our search? That Sinove demonetized could be anywhere by now. I don't know. We should probably find someone to spend the night or camp out of town. No point in knocking on people's houses in the middle of the night. Sounds reasonable, but maybe someone's still up and saw something. Your call. So we gotta find somewhere to chill or just camp out in the middle of nowhere. If this is like early RPGs, it's probably a good idea for us to actually get a good resting spot and not just camp out. Those old games tend to have like random encounters you can run into. This person has a furnace running. Whoever lives here must be sleeping at this hour. Let's return in the morning, said Huon. Seeing if anything stands out here. The game is running really well, which I suppose you would expect for something that looks like this, but you know. There's a lot of games that don't look high fidelity these days. And yet they don't run very well. Such as Security Breach. I mean, this place has a porch light on. Not going to bang on my cousin's door at this ungodly hour, said Huon. Okay. I'm guessing that's the Mingoner we're talking about. I don't know if I should sprint. Our sprint is very fast. I mean, at this point, it's going to be daytime. I don't know. The way they said that someone might have seen something. This house seemed abandoned. Should we have a look? Maybe the previous owners left something of value inside. Save for a broken chair and some pieces of pottery scattered on the floor, the house was remarkably empty. This place was looted clean, said Huon, kicking at the debris. Sam, however, was examining a section of the floor with interest. He slid his fingers along the edge of a wooden board, and as expected, the board gave way. Aha! He exclaimed triumphantly. Lifting the piece of timber, he discovered a small jingly pouch hidden within. 41. Where do I take it? Do I put it there? The Marinter Kingdom currency was always composed of valuable gold coins called salvian, and larger silver coins known as ocean, and the lesser leshen, which were, of course, made from bronze. Generally, the salvian was worth 10 ocean, and the 1 ocean was worth at least... It was in turn worth 10 leshen. So I just have to give it to one of you. Guess I'll give it to Sam since he found it. And sorry, daytime. I suppose we should try to do the camping here. Sam stopped, or we'll have our ears if we camp here. Let's find a spot outside of town, or better get ourselves a cozy room at an inn. How far do we have to go to be considered out of town? Yeah, so it's basically daytime now. Possibly missed our chance to sleep at all. They knocked and waited. After several minutes passed, Sam leaned on the doorframe to listen if anyone was stirring within. I can't hear anyone. Let's go. Now, can I camp? Okay, I can. Oh, it'll use rations, though, possibly. Cold camp. Guard shifts. I mean, it might already be daybreak. Let's pick that. Okay. And back into town now that it's probably daytime. Sure seems to be. See if we can find out more. I don't know how often we have to eat, or if we have to like manage our eating, or if we only eat when we camp. That's the abandoned house. Looks like we can just sprint as much as we want, though, which is a good thing. They knocked and waited. Outside the house came a heavy-set man. His receding hair betrayed his age. He leaned against the doorframe and looked at them impatiently. Yes, what do you want? It was he who spoke. Excuse me, but we're looking for a man who stayed at the inn, a gambler. Don't know his name, but he did leave in a hurry in the night. The man took a long look at the two and said, yes, in fact, I did see someone, though I haven't seen his face. I just got up to take a demonetized when someone ran past me like his boots were on fire. He brightened. Did you see where he went? South, out of town, I guess. Now, if you excuse me, I got things to attend to. The man said and disappeared into his home. South, so we're heading the right way anyway. That figures. And the village apparently saw someone flee south at night. This must be our man. You know what they say about assuming. It makes a demonetized out of you and me. All right. No one was here, but there might be something going on in the back. Compost pile. Not particularly. See that bush there kind of looked strange for a second. That just been my imagination. This one here. Seems like there's nothing going on there, though. Check the church here. Oh, now we're in like a click and point mode, huh? The scent was familiar. While it eluded him at first, it took a moment for Ewan to realize that what he smelled was an herb last handled at the University of Magic in Endara. Due to its innumerable curative and mystical properties, the relatively rare Ormanis was sought after by both healers and practitioners of magic, and therefore it often commanded high prices in the market. Ewan remembered how, in his first year of study, Mage Farron lashed out at him for using the whole plant in an experiment. Snapping out of his reverie, Ewan realized that he must have been staring at the young woman the whole time. Thankfully, if he was to judge from her expressions, he wasn't much annoyed as he was amused. Please excuse me, I didn't mean to stare, but the bundle of Orbanis you are carrying brought back some memories. Are you by chance willing to sell some? I could surely make good use of those in our travels. Sorry, but I swore an oath to see it delivered to the priest of Hulalia. But why the interest, if I may ask? An herbalist, perhaps? I can't say I often run into those who would have heard of it, let alone know the herb. No, I'm not an herbalist, but I have studied about them in Endara, so I can make use of it if need be. Besides, the unique properties of the herbs always fascinated me, so I try to learn of them whenever I can. I see. It's good to meet someone with a keen eye for herbs. If you need to purchase some, though, you're welcome to my shop, Nature's Gifts in Erngeddon. My name's Lynn, so I'll be sure to give you a fair price if you visit. Thank you for the offer, Lynn. If our road ever takes us to Erngeddon, we'll be sure to stop by. Oh, and I'm Huan. The name's it's going to take a little while. I'm Huan, and it's been a great pleasure meeting you. The pleasure was all mine. Well, yeah. Thought the temple of our luck goddess was far off in Ingarath. Are you planning to travel there by yourself? Surely a courier would have safely delivered those herbs in your stead. You think that would have been the soundest choice, but it's been weeks since I saw a courier carriage pass through in Gurdon. It took our little village suddenly... It's like our little village has suddenly gone off the map. Meanwhile, I pray to the guide of travelers for good fortune. I was assured that the courier still passes through there, so it shouldn't be long before I return to my shop. Goodbye, Lynn. He was lost in thought. After exchanging a few words with the man, he learned his name was Nomau, and that he was a farmer from the outskirts of Romar. He told him that his wife disappeared 2 weeks ago after going to fetch some water from the river. He's been praying to Tur Anan since, so that she may return safely home again. No one's found any traces of her, he told a human. The whole village joined the search. Even Lord Longcost's dogs couldn't catch her scent. She simply vanished, the man said, bursting into tears. Ewan stayed for a little longer, consoling the man the best he knew, and then excused himself and returned to Sam. His wife vanished, no trace of her anywhere. Maybe she just left him. No, I don't believe that's the case. The whole thing feels wrong. Sam shrugged. Maybe a side quest? A servant beckoned them to sit. The high priest is currently in prayer. As if you'd be so kind to wait, I'll let her know of your presence. Time dragged by, especially for Sam, who is now nervously pacing up and down the hall, stopping at the door several times, listening for whatever was happening beyond that boundary to the holy realm that only priests had access to. This is maddening, he said, while descending the steps into the basement. But as soon as he touched the last step, the large door opened and the tall woman bearing priestly garments stepped through. To those present, she bowed her head and then she smiled at Sam. I am sorry if the way has caused you any grief. Our god has been restless recently and relies much on our priestly chants. Hewan stood up and Sam tried to say something, but words eluded him, so he cast his gaze downwards in silence. It was Hewan who addressed the holy woman. We apologize, High Priestess. There's no dire need behind our visit. We simply wanted to talk. We can talk, she replied, her eyes lined with weariness, but let's be quick, as I have other matters to attend to. During the session with the priestess of Tiranan, they touched many topics about the god himself, but they also discussed the recent events that have befallen them, including the matter with the gambler. The balance of power is being tipped over. Like I have said before, our god is troubled. We have received note of similar disruptions from other temples as well, said the priestess gravely. You should be wary on your travels, particularly you, Hewan, for I feel you are embarking on a journey much longer than you have planned for. The priestess seemed to contemplate something and spoke to Sam. Within you, I can feel a similar disturbance, much alike to the one that has affected our temple home, but it's early to guess the nature of it. Time will tell. Lastly, she took their hands and said, look out for each other. I see danger in your way. Then she excused herself and bid them farewell. Really don't like that woman here. It felt like she looked right through me. Got goosebumps all over. Yes, I felt it too, but she is a high priestess after all. Those close to the gods often possess special talents. Yeah, talents to make one demonetize his pants. Let's go, and I don't want to stay here one more minute. Okay, I think we've talked about everything here. Priest of Turanon warned us of some danger in our way, but I was also scared the poop out of Sam, and I never thought I'd see this day coming. Okay. See if we got anything going on in the back. I'm not sure. Oh. Apparently we drank out of there or something. So our cursor does light up when there's something we can do. This is a really old grave, Sam said. It's really old Yamati stones, Ewan said. Okay. Back down. Oh, should I search the haystacks for a needle in the haystack? don't know if it's like very important to check every corner or if you should just head to the main places here. It's hard to say. They were invited into the small house after explaining they were travelers on their way to Avanmoor. Ranamid, the head of the farmer family, offered them a place to sit next to the fire pit. Just about to have breakfast, his wife, then added, Turanan has been generous this year, so if it was fun, we'll be happy to share. He had welcomed the warm food he'd been given, and Sam literally emptied his plate. It would be nice to hear news from the outside, Ranaman said between one mouthful and the next. We used to have visitors now and then, but these days they rarely stop to have a chat. Everyone seems to be in a hurry. He spent a good part of the hour recounting what he knew, and whenever a story got too dull to Sam's liking, the light-haired rogue promptly added all sorts of embellishments to the tale. He even sung one of his songs, which amused Sarah, Renaman's wife, to no end. And when they were done, Sarah addressed Sam. Now, that was quite a tale. Next time you visit Romar, I'd love to hear you sing another one. Sam accepted the compliment with a broad smile, and together with Huon, they rose and thanked them for the hospitality, and they walked out the door. Ranamir said, Good luck on your travels, boys. If you haven't been to our temple, you should really do so. Perhaps talk to the priestess while you're there. Thank you, said Ranamar. We spoke to the priestess already, Huon replied. Hey, it's good that they added something there in case he actually did things in a different order. And 'twas the most unnerving experience, Sam added, shuddering at the thought of the encounter. Again, they thanked them for their hospitality and left. Oh my god, it's almost nighttime. I think time is passing swiftly when we're like engaged in these conversations. They fed us breakfast, but it is now nighttime again. Do our characters have to sleep? Like, how are they doing here? They got all their endurance. Check this house. People probably start closing open for the night. The door was ajar, signaling for science. Yoon crept towards the house and carefully peeked through the gap. The inside was dark and quiet, with pieces of furniture scattered about, and nothing of any real value in sight. No one seems to have been living here for some time. Still, careful not to divulge their presence to whoever might be listening, he slowly pushed the door inward, but the old door protests with a loud groan. There goes our silent approach, shall we? Hewan offered, opening the door fully, but as he took a step in, a deathly stench invaded his nostrils, and he fought the urge to throw up. Lying in the corner, face down in the ashes of a fire pit, was a man, his clothes bloody and soiled. His back was pierced by an iron rod, probably by a fire iron, and two of the man's fingers had been cut off and cast into the pit. Is that our man? Asked Sam. His mouth and nose are covered with his sleeve. Hewan nodded. I think so. At that point, Sam pushed past him and took a closer look at the body. It is him, but there's no money on the body whatsoever. Whoever did this picked him clean. Suddenly, the sound of a sword leaving its scabbard came from outside, and a rough male voice announced, You two drop your weapons to the ground and walk out slowly. Hewan turned towards the door, and taking a step back, Sam straightened, instinctively going for his weapons. As if making a point, a second sound followed, a crossbow string being drawn and locking. Let's not make them wait, Hugh, Sam said as he concealed the throwing knife in his sleeve. Got a fine spell to distract that bolt firing demonetized? I do, Hewan applied, a lump forming in his throat, but I never used it to do harm before. It is forbidden, he added gravely, and then closed his eyes in concentration. Hey! Ooh. Dang, son, beating me up. Alright, so we'll do our XCOM style combat in the next video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, remember to hit the like button, keep the conversation going in the comments, and subscribe if you'd like to see more. Until next time, I hope you have a good day.